Well, hi everyone, this is Don Smith, and I would like to welcome you to my first video of 2020. And I want to wish you all a Happy New Year. Hope you had a great holiday season. Today, I'd want to dive into taking a look at the difference between profiles, LUTs, and presets. And presets can be called looks. So that's going to be a kind of an interchangeable term. The key with all three of these is they're just a little bit of stylization that's applied to the image that would normally not be there. And I believe that when we're in the processing phase of our images, that's just as creative as the capture stage out in the field, perhaps even a little bit more so nowadays with all these different looks and filters and software programs that we have available. And I like playing with this stuff. I think it's just an extension of the creative process. So what I want to do is clear up the mystery between the three of them, because I wasn't sure myself, so I've done a little research. I'm going to pass it on to you guys. And maybe some of you know all of this, but regardless, it's kind of cool to know and kind of cool to see. So the first one I want to talk about is just a profile. What the heck is a profile? Well, when you're importing your pictures into either Lightroom, generally I import mine into Lightroom, I can add a profile or a look right during the process or right during the import stage. I don't have to. That's the cool thing about a profile. A profile can be added after the fact. It doesn't really change. I'm over here in Adobe Camera Raw, and you can see I've made some basic changes to my highlights, shadows, whites, just to get this histogram looking good. As you know, I like to set a white point and a black point, and then I just massage the highlights and shadows, and I bumped a little contrast into this scene of this lighthouse up in Mendocino County, actually. This is up along the Northern California coastline. It's an older picture. I shot this back in 2011, I believe, when we used to do a workshop up there. But regardless, it was a good candidate to kind of show you how all of these profiles and LUTs and presets can work and change the look and feel of an image. So if you are in either Lightroom or Photoshop, and I happen to be in Adobe Camera Raw in Photoshop, you will see up here in the top right, it'll say profile, and you'll get a drop-down window, and you really just have two choices, monochrome and color. But to the right, you're going to see these profiles, these four little dots. And if I click on that, I actually start now to get a choice of various profiles. And all I have to do is simply hover my mouse over these. I'm in an artistic looking. I won't go through every one of them, even though that one kind of looks cool, Artistic 6. So it's kind of what you see, what you get. You can always modify. That looks kind of cool. You can always modify off a given profile. You're not locked into just using it as is. There was one in here when I was prepping this video. I think it's this one here. Isn't that cool? Just look at the difference between that, and now I'm just going to hover over it, and if I had wanted to apply that profile as a black and white. I thought that's kind of cool. They also give you some modern categories, and I won't go through all of these. And again, these are also in your Lightroom. Vintage, okay. And so that's what a profile is. So let's go ahead now. I want to open this up into this image into Photoshop. And this was really my first introduction to a LUT a number of years back. And a LUT is really just an acronym that stands for a lookup table. And basically what it is, as I understand it, it's a mathematical formula that's just really going to look at colors and tones, and it's going to take a color, maybe this purplish of these sea daisies down here, and say, make it look like this. So what your camera recorded and what is going to be the finish would be two different things. In Photoshop, they stuck this down here under your Adjustments tab, and you could go up here under Windows if you don't have that up and click on Adjustments. And it was this little grid box for quite a number of years. I kind of ignored it. And then I hovered over it one day and it said a lookup table. Well, they do actually give you some lookups, some LUTs rather. And unfortunately, when I hover over these, you don't get to see what they look like. So I actually have to click on them, which isn't the worst thing in the world. and that's foggy night. I'm just going to come through some of these at random. And so you have a whole series of these also that you can take a look at. The cool thing about a LUTs, you can purchase them out on the web. In just a moment, I'm going to open up Luminar, and you can purchase it through their site. And LUTs are really, whoops, I don't want to load a LUT. Let me cancel this. I really just want to trash that layer. Now, okay, we're back to the original image. A LUT can be used across different programs. Like it can be used in Photoshop, Lightroom. I believe now On1 will allow you to use LUTs. Luminar 4, which I'm going to show you here in just a second, will allow you to use LUTs. So they are transferable. And that leads me into the difference between what the difference is between a LUT and a preset. So let's go ahead and open up Luminar 4. And actually Luminar is going to refer to their presets as looks. So one of the ones I constantly have here up, if you look on the bottom left where my cursor is my landscape. If you went into Luminar looks, you could, get all different looks. You can even build your own looks and add them. I think I have done that right there. Yeah, I had a warm look, and that was one I just created on my own. But I'm just going to get back into, where did my landscape go? There it is. And I think for this picture, I'm just going to go over here to the warm sunset to really punch it up so we can kind of take a look at what a LUT will do. Before I get into the LUTs, let's talk a little bit more about looks, because looks are at a much different level than a LUT. A look in the new Luminar 4, I keep calling it new. It's not so new anymore, really, from 3, is it? But they've broken you up into 4 categories over here, starting with Essentials and then Creative and Profile and Pro. And I'm in the Essentials, and you'll see that some of these are highlighted and others aren't. What that simply means is within that preset or that look, it's an interchangeable term, these have been affected. Let's take a look at light. And yeah, you can see that whoever created this look or this preset took the highlights down 35%. So I can change with these. I certainly don't have to live with just the preset as it pops up. I always think of it as kind of a starting point. Okay, and remember all of this too, you always have opacity sliders where you can dial in and out. You can brush in portions, you can mask out other portions. It's really just kind of puts you in control and allows you to get the look and feel of what you're going for. So now that's what a preset and or a look is. And we talked about profile. So now let's get over and talk about LUTs, which is the acronym for lookup table. And you can see that within the warm sunset preset here, or look, there was actually color styles. The LUTs have been activated. And if I opened it up, they added a warm midtone. That's a LUT. So the cool thing here is when I click on that, I get all different types of LUTs that are pre-installed in Luminar 4. And all I have to do now is just simply hover my mouse over any one of these to get an idea of what it's doing. They've also broken it up. You can see this is cinematic toning, creative, come down here, portrait toning, cross-processing. If you want to get real wild with your stuff, Janita looks kind of cool. So it's kind of like the sky is the limit. There's one Monterey I really like. Then what they also allow you to do, there's 2 sections up here I want you to pay attention to. Loading a custom LUT. Well, how do I load a custom LUT? Well, the web is full of LUTs that you can purchase. Actually, if I click on this link right now, I'm going to open up and it'll take me to Skylum's page where you can actually purchase LUTs. And I actually downloaded here these cinematic LUTs before I recorded this. If I just hit download and then I stored them off to another hard drive. So let me come back over here and now I'm going to go load that custom LUT. And as you can see, I'm in the color grading 3D LUTs. These came in for free. The only thing with these is I can't hover over anything and see this picture change. I actually have to click on it, click open, and then take a look at it right there. So that's how those work. I'm not sure, or I haven't found a way to actually add these into all these categories. I'm not sure if there's a way that Luminar allows you to do that. If they don't, it would be kind of cool if they did. Similar to what they let you do with your textures. You can add and just add textures, but it's still there and it's cool. And most of the time, I just find myself playing around with the preloaded LUTs. So that is what a LUT is. Hopefully now you can explain what a LUT is. Remember, again, it's just an acronym for lookup table, and it's only affecting the color and the tone. That's where a LUT stops. Whereas down here on the bottom, a preset or a look, as Luminar calls it, Luminar looks, is a lot more. It can involve things such as sharpening, contrast, vignetting, saturation. A number of things can be saved into a look. And then a profile just affects the actual raw file, and you can apply it as you bring your pictures into Lightroom or whatever program you're ingesting on the front end, or you can select a picture and add it on the back end, or you can click all your pictures and apply it uniformly across all pictures also. Something like maybe for your studio photographers out there, that would be a cool thing to do. The last thing I want to point out, if you, the way I recommend doing this is select your preset or look first and then add the LUT second. If you go and you start with the LUT and then you come down and add a preset, it'll wipe that LUT out. It'll cancel it. And I hope that makes sense. So as long as you start with the look first or the preset, then you can add the LUT and it won't alter the look or the preset. Okay, but if you do it the other way around, it will wipe out the LUT. So that's it. Those are 3 different ways. I think it's just something we all have in our tool bag now that allows us to just get even more creative and more expressive with our pictures when we bring them in to do our processing. So hopefully that's helped you out, and you get in and you start playing with LUTs. You don't get afraid of any of this stuff. You play around some of those profiles in either Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw. And then you come into, any one of these programs. Luminar is a favorite of mine. On1's a favorite of mine. Topaz offers a bunch of cool software. They're all doing some great stuff. I own them all. I'm just kind of a software junkie, and I love playing with this stuff. And hopefully you do too. So until next time, this is Don Smith. We hope to see any of you, if you have an interest in joining me on a workshop, get a hold of Barry or I, Don at donsmithphotography.com, or go to our website, donsmithphotography.com, and click on the workshop tab, and it'll take you to the workshop. And by the way, we do have a lot of discounts, and I encourage you to go to our website, click on that discount link, check out what discounts we have with the various software companies out there, and Stingray Filters, we're an affiliate with them. Think Tank Photos. So a lot of cool companies in the photo industry that we're associated with and proud to be associated with, and we offer their fine products, and you get to get a little bit of a break when you purchase them. So until next month, this is Don Smith. You take care.